views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Dow Academy. Any content provided by bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is Anesu Musopelo. Catch us on the Tech Report from Monday to Friday at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We break down the biggest tech headlines in the world.
Good afternoon, everybody, listeners out there. This is Slee, and I am here with my host, Anesu Musopelo. I am.
Oh, baby, could you please remove the banner first?
Thank you, Mr. Aldea. Good afternoon, Mr.
Good
Aldea.
afternoon.
How are you?
And only you're not the host.
I didn't say I was with my host, though. How are you, Mr. Aldea?
I'm great today. How are you guys?
I love what you did with the hat.
You like it?
Yes,
my new
I
look.
love weird things, honestly.
Weird.
No, it looks really funny.
Oh,
You understand? This is something I would love to look at for my last day. So you should walk like that
I
today.
should- with
for
the
whole
hat
day.
and the headphones.
Yes.
I'm
oh,
not gonna
it
take
could
the
be a new
headphones
look
out.
though.
Well, at least for
It
today,
works.
because I would like to.
We're
see
gonna be
something.
here for the next 45 minutes or so with my hat.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
yes, I would like to get a picture of that. By the way, I'm actually serious.
Okay, we'll do a
It's
picture.
nice to look
at
at
the end.
weird things.
You say it's weird.
Yeah, it is.
The right word would
Okay,
be
fair enough.
quirky or something.
It is. It's funny. You know, you don't think it's funny.
Amusing.
Yeah, it is funny.
Thank
It's a
you.
radio cowboy.
Yes.
Yeah, radio cow.
Wow.
That should be my handle on the show. The radio cowboy's coming in today.
You do know I'm going to write that down, right?
Go ahead. It's your
Thank
last
you.
day. You can write down anything
This is
you
the
want.
radio
After
cowboy.
you walk out, you'll have no idea if we do it or not. So
You heard the man. It's my last day, which is why I am sitting on the red chair and Anis is looking at me funny
Yes.
because
Cannot
he
stand
yes, he has been my co-host for a lot more shows, and he was happy that this one, for once, he's actually the owner of the show. So welcome everybody. Today we are going to be talking about coding, and
Yay.
even though I'm hosting today's show, I am hoping to be learning a lot too because
Sure.
I've never coded before, and I'm sure you guys have experience with coding.
unfortunately.
So, yeah,
Oh, it's very stressful,
yes, it's stressful.
but rewarding, yes.
Okay, so Anesu, can you take it away?
Okay. I can take it away with okay, we're gonna be talking about the Tech Series coding program, but
Okay.
we can just start like just by talking about coding in general,
Sure.
what it is. And so coding, programming, it's creating software. That's literally just it, creating software.
It's a
But-
very broad explanation of what coding is.
But like, let's go into the software. Software are pieces of are programs that are written in computer languages to instruct the computer on what to do to complete certain tasks.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the definition I could get. So like, the programmers or the coders, they're like engineers. They make those programs, those softwares. They write the languages using they type in the languages that the computer understands.
You just answered a question I've asked myself when I was 5.
What was that?
Are computers smarter than us? Turns out they're not, because we are the ones
Yeah,
programming these apps.
yeah,
and
we tell them
everything.
what to do. And,
Okay.
Yeah, and all that. What is your explanation of coding?
So my explanation of coding, it actually goes to what you guys both said. So computers by themselves are very stupid.
Okay.
They're basically a paperweight until a human, or at this point another artificial intelligence AI, until they come up with a language that the computer can understand. So the easiest explanation of coding that I always give to both students and adults is phones, right? At this point, we all have a phone, either a smartphone or a flip phone or what are the old phones called?
Oh, flip
T9
phone.
phones.
Wow.
A what?
They're T9 phones, right? Like what's the name of
T9 phone?
I'm not
What is
familiar
that?
with the T9 phone.
Okay,
Guys.
let's find out. It's
When you
fine,
guys
though.
were like sending SMSs before smartphones, what SMS system were you using? It's called T9. T as in the letter T, and nine as in
The actual number 9.
the amount of lives cats have.
What? Which one?
Wait,
Wait,
cats have
T9.
9
Are they
lives.
like the small phones like that you had to like? Let's say you wanted the X, you had to press
Yes.
the number. Oh, yeah.
So you know what T9 is now.
Yeah, we really know the names, but
now
it
I
was a long time
remember.
ago.
Yeah, because
Like
it's
the
been.
Nokias.
I mean,
Yes.
yes,
it is
Nokia
the
is a
one, it
brand
is
that
the
had
one.
a T9 phone.
Yeah,
I used to cry for
we
this.
just called them
Is this the
Nokias.
one?
Yes,
I used to
those
cry
are the
for this.
Nokia ones. Those things will last like 20 years.
Some of them are still alive.
Those things don't break.
They don't.
And I wish my phone vibrated this hard. Could break your leg. Now I can't even hear my phone. Feel it vibrate.
Anyway, so what coding does is it takes a piece of hardware and what you talked about coding the software in it.
Mhm.
So a human or another AI system at this point, they go in and they tell that piece of hardware what to do. Because, like I said, in itself, computers, phones, everything, they're pretty stupid. They don't really do anything unless they understand the command that the human gives it. Hi, Matle.
Hello, sir.
Are you joining us for your
6
news?
minutes to
Yes,
yay.
sir. Yes,
All right. So what basically, whenever most of us use WhatsApp, or if we don't use WhatsApp, we use SMS, right? The only reason your phone knows how to send an SMS or to use WhatsApp is it takes an input from the person. So it's either your finger or the button, and it knows if I touch here, I must have the letter A. So that's what coding is in a very, very high level perspective. It tells a computer or something computerized what to do. So even in a car, for example, there's a lot of coding in a car, like in the engine. At this point, most cars are very computerized at this point. I mean, your mixer, there's language inside of this.
So
There's anything that works that is hardware at this point has some code somewhere. Your microwaves at this point have codes.
Yep.
Your fridges, your anything, your remote. There's some piece of computer coding inside of that for it to happen.
my research on T9 phones.
Your
There's
research
a
on T9
code,
phones.
there's a
yeah,
code
Google
behind
is a
that.
lot
There's
of
a code
code.
behind that.
Like it's so deceptive. Like if you see Google, just see like a small search bar and a button.
That's so many
But
things.
But
hey.
so much
But
code.
hey,
Millions of lines of code. So yeah, that's coding in a
that-
nutshell.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like and within coding, I mean, because computers only understand ones and zeros, so it goes back to electricity. So electricity goes into a computer, and a computer only understands the reason it's one and zero is because it either understands on or off.
oh, okay.
So on is one, zero is off. So it's called binary language. So what these languages basically do is they're the middleman, for lack of a better word, between the human and the computer knowing ones and zeros. So when you get to the very, very basic level of computer, it's either on or it's off,
Mhm.
and that's how it knows. Because I think I don't know what the letters are, but in binary language, for example, even something as simple as the letter A, is it 10?
It's eight.
Is it 10? Is it 8?
Eight
Because it's
numbers. Eight, like 0, 1,
8
1,
zeros
1.
and ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a pattern. So if you type A, you
Maybe.
should actually look it up during the break. It's, I don't know, so many things on and so many things off, and that's how the computer knows to type the letter A. It's actually very interesting.
It is.
And there's different
It
types of
looks like it
languages.
takes a lot of work and patience to
Takes a lot of
actually
patience.
get all that
Yes.
Mhm.
done.
Like
But-
people like long ago, they used to actually like use those zeros and ones, right? Like and
Mhm.
I remember like the languages like basic, like the one for Microsoft. I had that they created a language using these other weird machines where they had to like type in those kind of
They
things.
typed in on or off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you type in eight ones and off, like symbol thing, and then comes up A. The next 8 binary code is B, etc., etc. Yeah, because the computer has to understand on or off from what you type.
Mhm.
So
It was hectic.
it's interesting. And actually, the first computer programmer was a woman. Did you guys know that?
Yep.
Wow,
Right.
that makes me
Yeah.
happy.
So now computer coding it's interesting. It actually has a very interesting history. Would actually encourage people to go understand what it is.
And now it's getting easier for people to do and learn how to
It
program
is.
computers now.
So what I want to do is after our news break, so we don't interrupt Amantle here, is we can talk about um, the different ways people learn, and we can tie it into the tech series program from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so in about 2 minutes, we're going to be having Amante Haitsewe with the news. Good afternoon, Amante. How are you? Yes. So are you given like new headlines? These are headlines, right? Or are they the same ones from in the morning? Oh, so they're not the same. You're not gonna give that last headline.
No.
I'm not gonna say it again.
No.
I'll say it for you. All right.
Time for news on TDA Teleradio, straight out of Madrid.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio. Number one local station. The new brand of radio.
Are you done with your headlines? Are you sure? Amante, please. Fine. Okay. So thank you, Amante, for the news. She's refusing to give the real headline for today, and I'm sure you guys heard it in the morning. She's refusing to repeat it. Anyway, so we are going to go on a short musical break and come back with more information on coding with Anesu and Mr. Alde.
The music just feels so good. You're on the number one.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world.
The music just feels so good. You're on the number one. The music just feels so good. You're on the number one.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world.
The music just feels so good. You're on the number one. The best songs on the radio. This is my only favorite station.
Never really saw you coming until you turned me around. I used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found. So give me your hand, I can shake mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. I'm on tears. I'm on tears. Take that chance, hold me tight. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. I'm on tears. Not my tears. Never really saw you coming until you turned me around. I used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found. So give me your hand, like you took mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, no more tears. Oh, no more tears. Take that chance, we'll be fine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, no more tears. Oh, no more tears.
see you, I wonder it gon' be the last time. Holding back these feelings, I wonder it gon' be the last time. And I know that I want you so bad, and my head I'm sleep, looking all the time. And I know that I'm laying months that I can't help staying. You keep coming back, and I want away. Oh, yeah, I won't be coming to you after midnight. And I want away. Oh, yeah, I only think about me after midnight.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Dow Academy. Any content provided by bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is Anesu Musopelo. Catch us on the Tech Report from Monday to Friday at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We break down the biggest tech headlines in the world.
Welcome back, Mr. Altea.
Thank you.
It's just us now because our host is figuring some things out that he needs to do. Okay, so Mr. Altea already explained what coding is, so we're going to skip that. So can you please tell us what jobs can people get from learning how to code?
Sure. So before we get to the jobs, let me, because I think we left off in terms of how do people learn how to code, right? And it's 2021. There's easier ways on learning how to code these days. So, for example, when I went to university, I was forced to take C++. And I think you also said you tried C++ at one point as well.
Yeah, tried C++. Yeah, I did.
So the professor in our class, I get why he did it, but my brain doesn't work that way. So he had us learn how to write C++ on pen and paper. So we actually had to learn this, like the syntax, which the syntax is it's almost like grammar. So in English, it's grammar, like how you write a sentence with a noun, a pronoun, a verb, etc. So for coding, it's called syntax. So you must have certain characters that when this character appears, the computer knows the following line command. So we had to write the syntax and the line of code on a piece of paper, and we turned in a piece of paper as our assignment. I don't learn that way. I learn a lot through trial and error and researching. So I failed that class miserably. It was the only class in my life that I failed. The professor did pass me. I got my C minus, so I can pass, so I don't get stuck in that class because it was part of my major. The only reason he passed me because I went to like every lecture. I went to every training session. I attended every like extra credit opportunity. So I was trying. My brain just didn't get it. So thankfully, that was in 2008, 2009. Yeah, that's a long time ago. So now there's a lot of easier ways to learn how to code, and we actually start coding at the Dow Academy at Standard 4. So they are about 10 years old when they start, 8, 9, 10, when they start learning how to code.
Yeah, yes.
Great. So we use an application called Scratch, SCRATCH. I have to think about that one. So we use it's a drag and drop application. So do you know what I mean by drag and drop?
Yeah, with this
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you take a block
Got it correct. Okay.
Yeah, you take a block of already of a code command and you put it into this Scratch application. So that way the students still learn the idea of what it is to code, but without them having to learn the syntax and the language. So it is actually a lot easier to learn. I was able to also learn it as well. And it's great because if our standard 4 students can learn, that means it gives us a good base to where we can start coding part of the TDA Tech Series at the Dow Academy. And this computer coding class, we actually partner with one of our global partners, the University of Cincinnati, to teach the class. So we have a professor, his name is Mohammed El Wakil. He is a professor at the University of Cincinnati, and he talks to our students once a week. So he comes on through a projector on our smartboard, and he teaches the class virtually from, how many miles is from here to the US?
No
Very
idea.
many, across the ocean. And he teaches our students how to code. So this was actually our first TDA Tech Series partnership. This one's close to my heart because this is where it started.
Okay.
This is where we even got to the name TDA Tech Series, because we had to what do we name this umbrella of programs? And the coding one with the University of Cincinnati was the first one. And Professor El Wakil actually volunteers his time to teach our young learners how to code. So I think we have a video loaded. I actually want to introduce everybody to Professor El Wakil. He put together a video for our learners so everybody knows who he is. So can we please play that video?
Welcome to the TDA Tech Series. My name is Mohammed El Wakil, and I am your instructor in this series. Let me begin by introducing myself. I am originally from Egypt, where I got my Bachelor of Science and Master of Science from Cairo University. After that, I moved to Michigan, where I earned my PhD from Western Michigan University. I had spent a short time in Ireland as a teaching scholar with Maynooth University. Then I went to Innopolis University in Russia, where I did my postdoctoral studies. After that, I worked as a lecturer at the School of Informatics, Computing and Cyber Systems of NAU for 3 years. And now I am an assistant professor with the Math, Physics and Computer Science Department of UC Pluash. I don't have a selfie at UCBA yet, so I'm using this logo until I get a selfie. I am married. My wife is a dermatologist and her name is Heba. We have 2 kids. Adam is 3 years old and Jasmine is 5 years old. So what this course is about? It is an introduction to the fascinating world of computer programming. As you know, everything in our world has a computer and requires a program to run. Our mobile phones, cars, buses, aeroplanes, video games, and most toys will not be there without computer programs. These programs are written by programmers whom we also call developers or software engineers. In this course, we will use Google CS First. It has many kid-friendly activities that makes learning how to code an interactive and fun activity. Students will learn about coding basics such as sequences, conditionals, and loops. They will use a Scratch programming environment available from the MIT, one of the world's top universities. In December, we are going to participate in the Global Hour of Code event. Our students will be writing code with millions of other kids around the globe at the same time. I'm really excited that I will participate in the TDA Tech Series program, and I wish the best to all participating students. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at my email mohammed.elwakel@uc.edu. Have a good day, and I will see you soon.
Aw.
It's nice, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
No, thank you for playing that. So that is who teaches the course. Um, we are very proud of our partnership with the University of Cincinnati, and it's also given them an opportunity to expose what the University of Cincinnati is to a global audience as well. So it's a partnership. We've done this now for 3 terms, and we hope it will continue because we're able to provide this opportunity to a lot of our TDA students.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how we try to teach in a very high level. We try to teach computer programming at TDA.
And it's really nice that he's actually just volunteering his time to teach the younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool for doing that.
So
Yeah.
did you teach yourself these things? Did you research on it, or there was actually someone that came and?
So I had to like do it on my own using YouTube videos and stuff back in standard 5. I started with HTML.
HTML is a lot easier.
It's a lot
Yeah.
easier. So it was really complicated
I
at first.
understand that.
You want to tell people what HTML stands for? Do you know what it stands for?
Yeah, it's hypertext markup language. It's used for website,
Mhm.
like the basics of website. So you can like that's like the basic language of creating a website. Then you include others like JavaScript, server side languages like PHP and Python and Ruby and all that stuff. So I had to like go through the stages.
Mhm.
Yeah, just learning through YouTube videos and reading books, 600 pages. Hey, I remember. I was so passionate about coding.
What happened?
No,
Why didn't you
I
continue?
haven't coded in 2 years. I don't know what happened. It just stopped doing it. I like started using WordPress and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I stopped, but I used to love it.
But why though? Like, were you not? Why did you start? Like, why did you start? Were you? What made you so passionate about it?
Uh it was just so cool, like hearing that you could actually like make games. I was first interested in making games using programming and coding, but then I just went into websites because they were easier, and then I found that they were actually much more interesting. You could do things quicker,
Mhm.
yeah, and because games you had to spend hours and hours, but yeah, well, I eventually actually started spending hours with website because like server. I don't know if you ever like use PHP or
What language is used in Dreamweaver? Do you know? Is it
Dreamweaver.
PHP?
They use PHP, yeah.
Okay. So yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, so PHP. Oh yeah, I remember my Dreamweaver days, standard 7.
Your what
Yes,
days?
my Dreamweaver
Oh,
days.
Dreamweaver. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one could spend hours working on an algorithm, like trying to make it work. Then like it was really fun. Like it's solving problems, right?
It is
So you
all
have
the
to be
time.
like, yeah, so you have to break down the problem and find which line is making this whole thing not work. So there's that aspect to it. So it's actually fun doing it and rewarding at the end of the day when you find a solution. So,
Wow. Okay.
It is definitely a way of thinking, right?
mm-hmm.
And you do have to be very patient. Um, maybe which is why I failed the class. But you also have to it's a way of thinking because it's basically writing in another language. The same way we learn French or Spanish or Setswana or English, etc. It's learning how to write another language.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it is. It changes your mind
Hmm.
because you start looking at problems differently. It's not just like I've actually had like most like famous programmers like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. They say like it actually does change your mindset because solving a coding problem, it requires you to actually take a step back and start changing how you look at the program and trying to look for like solutions like in real life, right? Real
Yeah.
life, you have to like narrow down where the problem is and how you can
And how
solve
to
it.
solve it.
Yeah, just like so yeah, you can get that sort of mindset from there. It's not just learning how to make software, you can use it in life.
I mean, you can program anything. I mean, you can have anything happen You can create anything with proper computer programming. I mean, I can turn my phone into a complete different application if I, or like a different purpose if I wanted to.
You
Or
don't want to?
it depends what you want to do. Some people do change, yeah, the configuration of their phone.
Can I turn my Android into an
Nope.
iOS?
I mean, you
That was so
technically you could.
quick.
Yeah, you could
You could
technically.
do that.
That would sue you.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. It's proprietary information.
I am?
That's why your iPhones are so expensive. It's because the plastic and the metal and the chips and the batteries are not expensive. What's actually expensive is the intellectual property behind the idea. So you're not
Yeah?
really buying. Yeah, you're not really buying the plastic or the metal. You're buying the intellectual property. That's why it's expensive. Why do you think Nikes are expensive? Or Adidas? Or
Puma.
yeah? Or
Like Puma.
I don't know what else is expensive. What are really expensive
Louis
brands?
Vuitton.
Yeah. They're not expensive because of the material. They're expensive because the intellectual property. Even Louis Vuitton, it's a bag. If you put two bags next to each other, they're probably the same thing.
Yes.
Well, one is $10,000, one is 20. It's because the brand and the intellectual property behind it.
Yeah, and also that goes into like the value of coding.
Exactly.
Like a small piece of software might become so big, like Facebook or yeah, all those kind of stuff. It might be, like, you could make like solve if you like your piece of software is solving a big problem, you could get a lot of reward from it.
I mean, look how many people use WhatsApp,
Mm-hmm.
and look how many people use Facebook.
There's a lot of people.
And all it is somebody coded an application.
What happened to Telegram? You guys still use Telegram?
I think it's still used. Some people still use Telegram, yeah.
Yeah, in certain countries, like most of these soft apps that like WeChat, it's not popular here, but in China it is.
Oh. I used Telegram for like 2 weeks.
It's a different purpose.
All right, so in 3 minutes, right? Amantla is going to be coming in for the news in detail. Do we have anything else to cover?
Yeah,
Mr. Host.
we talked about how it actually works, how students are learning. We didn't talk about the jobs.
Yeah, I do actually want to talk about the jobs because that's a big reason why we did introduce computer coding at the Dow Academy.
Oh, okay.
Because we implement programs that are relevant in today's market, right? So yes, we do start at standard 4, but the point is to teach students, one, about a passion, and two, about a career opportunity as they grow up, because then they can always think of like, I can be a software engineer or I can be a developer. Because right now there are actually shortages of computer programmers and developers, first within Botswana, but actually within the world. It's if you have those skills, you can find a job. You can find a job. You can work remotely. You can work from your house. You can work from Botswana, and for somebody in the UK, it's an easy opportunity to find a very stable job with if you know how to code and how to program. So, for example, my brother is a computer programmer. His headquarters, the company that he works with, is, I don't know, 1,000 kilometers away from where he actually lives.
Yep.
And he works remotely, and he's able to manage his work life balance, and he doesn't actually have to go into an office, so he saves a lot of costs of driving, fuel, time. And yeah, he works remotely, and he's a computer programmer, and he really enjoys it.
Yeah, because I've heard of companies that can actually like have 200 employees with no headquarters or like a play building where they just have them work online using like GitHub or something like that.
So it is. That's why we introduced it. We did want to show students that you can be more than a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a government employee, the popular professions. This can be a very viable career path as you grow up and you have that passion, because you said you started in standard 5,
Yes,
which is
standard 5.
right exactly when we start introducing our students about the standard 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we start so early. So
yeah, and I'm going to do that in college. So
yeah, there you go.
So
and in about 4 years, Anesu will come back and he'll be able to program your tel radio station to do fun things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Thank you so much. And the time is 12:59, and in a few, Ahmad is going to be coming in with news in detail, right? Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Time for news on TDA Tele Radio, straight out of Mercury.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio. Number one local station. The new brand of radio.